Hi guys, Mike with Fights with Friends. Somebody want to tell me what the hell is going on in the UFC right now? First, we had this Saturday UFC 229 event with Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov, and all the tension boiled over. Khabib jumps into the crowd, attacks Dan Diaz. A member of Khabib's team comes into the cage, cold cocks Conor. And just as we thought that was looking like the WWE, I wake up to today to the main event and the co-main event of UFC 230 being canceled and changed once again. Sierra Eubanks, who was supposed to be fighting for a title against Valentina Shevchenko, said, "You're playing with my life right now. You all have to stop running this like a circus." And it's hard to argue with her right now. So we all complained about the main event for UFC 230. Eubanks versus Valentina Shevchenko. After they had talked about, to be announced, and there was all this buildup of UFC 230, possibly Jon Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson, which is also scheduled now on another note. This match gets called off. Dana says, fine, you guys don't want to see Eubanks versus Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko, you're back on with Joanna at 231. Eubanks, you're fighting on the undercard. Hey, Derek Lewis, why don't you cool your balls off and go fight Daniel Cormier in 3 weeks? So Daniel Cormier is facing Derek Lewis for the heavyweight championship on November 3rd. What would the betting prompts on that be? I guarantee you nobody was taking action on that. That's absolutely insane. And then who the hell knows what's going on with Dustin Poirier, but he's out from an undisclosed injury. Let's go into that for a minute. Thanks to the UFC and USADA's new rule of not talking about cases that are under investigation, now anytime a fighter is out with an undisclosed injury, people are going to speculate that they were having issues with USADA, which is exactly what I'm doing. I think this is very possible. But why do you have an undisclosed injury right now? I don't understand. If you're coming out of the co-main event, that might be the kind of injury that you might want to disclose to somebody. You would think Dana White, UFC, somebody's interested in what that injury is. Now, so who does Nate fight? Nate threw names out there. He says, I'm ready. I've been training for a fight. Dana White says no. Comes on and says Dustin Poirier's out. Nate Diaz is out. Well, does anyone find this a huge coincidence that right when their cash cow has lost a championship match in still a big money fight, and then the guy that they assume that he can beat, that he just beat last time, that was the all-time grossing UFC as far as pay-per-view buys and money up until this one, and we still don't have final numbers for this. But that guy's out of his fight. Could possibly the UFC have went to Dustin Poirier and gave him a little step-aside money. Now, I'm not speculating that Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor are going to fight at UFC 230 because that's too early. That's too early for the ass-whooping that Conor just took. And they already have a big main event. So they have a big main event, Daniel Cormier versus Derek Lewis, who, like I said, just fought. But wait a minute. Somebody else is pissed off, and they have a right to be pissed off. And that's Stipe Miocic. So Stipe Miocic asked for this fight. He asked for the rematch. He said he would step in at UFC 230 And instead of taking the winningest heavyweight champion of all time, the longest reigning heavyweight champion as far as defenses of all time, you go and you take the number 5 ranked heavyweight in the world who lost 14 minutes and 45 seconds of his match against Alexander Povetkin in a 15-minute battle when he looked like he was in maybe slightly better shape than Dada 5000. And you go and put him in a 5-round battle with the champ, the cardio king of heavyweight. How do you think that's going to go? I mean, yeah, it's a good way to sell the card. It's a good way to save the card. A lot of people weren't excited about Eubanks versus Shevchenko. And by a lot of people, I mean no one was excited about that fight. Except for Cesaro Eubanks. And I don't think she knew what she was getting into, to be honest. Or she wouldn't be too excited about it either. But so much going on at once to comment on. And Gustafsson versus Jones 2 now is scheduled. Dana White confirmed that they would be fighting. I'm guessing that's for the light heavyweight belt. There's a couple weeks that the UFC is going to be dormant, but they put enough news out there to keep everyone busy and speculating for the next couple of weeks, I guess. But I got to kind of agree with Cesaro Eubanks as this is getting to be a bit of a circus. An entertaining circus, and God knows what happens next. Like I said, if anybody should be more pissed off than anybody, besides maybe Cesaro Eubanks, though, it's Stipe Miocic. I don't understand how you have that spot open. Jon Jones doesn't want the fight. Jon Jones does not want to fight, period. He was offered to fight at UFC 230. That was confirmed. He said he was not ready. So Daniel Cormier is ready to fight. You have the longest reigning heavyweight champion of all time ready to fight him. And you don't give him the rematch, and you take the number 5 guy who cuts 30 pounds to make 265 to now fight in a 5-round war that even himself admits he's not conditioned for. I don't know what's going on over there. It creates a lot of news. I'm curious, what do you guys think right now, though? Who do you want to see Nate Diaz fight next? Are you excited that Shevchenko versus Joanna is still alive? I'm happy about that one. I feel very, very sad for Eubanks because that's a really messed up thing to do, and I hope they cut her a check on the other side. I have not heard that they are, though. She is extremely upset. She put out a storm of tweets towards the UFC and towards Joanna, saying that Joanna's not ready for the big boys, which I don't know where the boys are, but I'm guessing she meant big girls. And she's coming after Joanna, she's coming after Shevchenko, she's coming after her effing belt. So, I mean, if the whole goal was to motivate Cesaro Eubanks between Joe Rogan saying he doesn't know who she is and Dana White putting her in the main event in a title shot and then changing his mind, they may have done more to motivate Cesaro Eubanks than Valentina Shevchenko or Joanna Jędrzejczyk ever could have. That girl's got to be on fire right now. And Nate, I'm interested to hear what Nate has to say because Nate said he was ready to fight. So this will be interesting. Mark my words right now. I believe the next time Nate or Conor McGregor step into the cage, it will be against each other. It only makes sense. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3. And whatever happened with Dustin Poirier, I don't think he's injured. I think it's either USADA inquiry or he was given some step-aside money to set up the fight between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor. Either way, I feel bad for him unless he was cheating, which is 100% speculation. I have absolutely no reason to believe that. But let me know what you guys think. Is this new UFC entertainment, WME, whatever is going on here, is this better than what we had before? Is this more entertaining? Did Dana do the right thing in correcting himself, canceling the main event between Shevchenko and Eubanks, and installing Daniel Cormier versus Derek Lewis? Should he have found Nate Diaz a replacement fight? Will Nate Diaz lobby for a replacement fight and possibly end up on the card anyways? Or is it all just an elaborate plot to get Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor back in the cage for a third time? And honestly, a little bit of me hopes that it is, because like I think I've said on the show before, the best fight I've ever seen was between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor too. That's probably my favorite all-time fight. It's an absolute classic. But yeah, let me know what you think down there in the comments. PFL coming up on Saturday. I'll touch upon that soon. The second round of the playoffs, and we'll be here for that. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.